Greetings! It's me, Enchantress Shane, and I'm all fucking fired up about personal freedom. So, today is day 3. Day 3. It seems like it's been forever already, but it's day 3 of Enchanted Living, how to break through to have more freedom, more permission, more sensual self-expression, and more authenticity. And I have been challenged, and it's been a real big challenge in my mind to have been challenged to do 40 days. And not only just do 40 days live, but to plan ahead, to have a structure. Because, yay, welcome everyone. Because on some level, it's taking away my personal freedom. Yay, Lori! All the friends are coming. So today's day 3. It feels like day 117 because it's going against what I judge as freedom, which is I want to do what I want to do. So let me see how I can set this up better. Oh, there we go. Okay. So welcome. Thank you. So, hey, Sheila, nice to connect with you. So let's all, for the collective, not just for our own greedy knowledge or entertainment purposes, let's all take a deep breath in. Hey, Jessica. And take the breath for the collective, for the people who are riding the New York City fucking subway right now, for the people who are watching the news every day, for the people who are involved in politics, who are getting really angry. There are dangerous things happening, but right now, let's be honest, we are free to tune into this video. I am free to speak about whatever I want. And let's not sleep on that fact. I just came from the dentist. I didn't have any time to put makeup on, so I put the lipstick because I felt like, fuck it, why not? It's Monday morning, it's rainy, it's chilly. My beautiful new heat system is on. It's going to be expensive, but I have the freedom to choose to put it on or not. So today we're going to talk about personal freedom. And I was listening to a really, let me see. Oh, I do have it. I love the library. And I got this from the Rockaway Library. It's called Change and Transition, Moving from a State of Fear into a State of Love. Louise Hay. May she rest in peace, and I know she already is. So this Enchanted Living, I'm doing it for 40 days. And what I've learned, I'm a public school teacher. That's my background. I'm a special education therapist. And I was also a stripper at the same time. Why was I able to do all that is because I have freedom. And it's what I chose to do. So I've learned a thing or two about not having a boss, about posting whatever pictures I want. And I don't particularly come from a family that's like, yeah, go be free, do what the fuck you want. My parents are immigrants. They came here after World War II. And they were 2 and 3 years old. My grandparents are Holocaust survivors. My parents are too. Freedom is not something that runs in my fucking blood. Joy is not something that comes naturally. These are things I had to work for. And the work is different than 9-to-5 jobs. The work is different than do this and you'll be successful. The work is not like work hard and you'll get paid. The work is like find your personal freedom and you shall be successful. Now, there are many addictions in this world, and many people, my dog is being a little needy right now, so I'm going to bring him in. Hello. Sorry, he just flashed you. So what I want to talk about today is where are you fucking yourself? Where are you taking away your own personal freedom? And that is a really big deal because there are always in history, right? We're not going to look at details, right? We're looking at the greatest good, where there's always going to be trauma. There's always going to be strife. There's always going to be people fighting for things. Okay. How do we find our own personal freedom so that the people in our lives, the people in our own communities don't get the worst of us? And your own community could be your family, right? So if you're the kind of person that's constantly watching the news, constantly fighting, not giving yourself any downtime to come back into your heart, you're going to suffer. And maybe you're already suffering. And truth be told, you're probably not watching me, because I'm not here to talk about what doesn't work. So last night I posted a really vulnerable picture of myself. And, you know, part of it's like, oh, it's a professional picture, so it's not that vulnerable, but it truly fucking was. I was in this workshop at my retreat called See and Be Seen. It was a nude photo, and it was a moment of me crying and being really in pain. And it's rare that I allow those emotions out for some reason. Like there's a trip in my system that's like, don't cry, everything's gonna be okay. And some people commented like, oh, everything's gonna be okay, I would give you a hug. And it's like, no, I don't want that problem to go away. Actually, it's beautiful that it arose. And I gave myself that personal freedom to cry, to share, to have a photo taken in that moment was so vulnerable. And that is a personal freedom I gave myself. Wow. I'm going to do something right now that I really need to do. So that's what I want to ask you about. Put some essential oils. That's what I want to talk about today, is the personal freedom. Now I'm going to ask you some questions, and I wish that you to answer them. I wish you to answer them on, in a journal or just in your mind. When you go to the doctor and the doctor says, wah, 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 and gives you some information, and it sounds expensive, it sounds long-term, it sounds detrimental. Do you take it as a total fact, or do you think about other options, or do you ask about other options? Okay. And the reason I bring that up is I see so many, now I respect the medical business. I just came back from the dentist, and I chose to not have dental insurance because the system doesn't make sense. It's cheaper to not have dental insurance if I don't need work. And my curiosity was to ask questions, and I always ask questions. But my doctor and my dentist seem opposed. My sense is they're opposed to finding out other ways to heal myself. And that's okay. That's not what they're trained in. But my question is, where do you give your power to a professional and make their word the only word that matters? Where do you do that? Because that is a moment. Thank you for sharing, Michael Anthony. And also, I'll share that if you don't know who I am, my name is Enchantress Shane. I'm often really passionate about a lot of things like freedom, self-expression, performing, communication, intimacy, and authenticity. Great. Thank you, Robert, for answering. So Robert says on Instagram, I think about other options and ask about other options. So me too. And you can feel sometimes when dentists or doctors are like, oh, you're one of those people. Because it does make their job harder because then you start to do other things like take herbs or supplements, and it may mess up what they're already trained to do. But the truth is, even if you just ask, you're giving yourself power and you're giving yourself momentum to take your body and your mind and your spirit into your own hands. So the next question is, when you are in a relationship, and I talked about this last night, are you willing to share your feelings of longing or desperation, or do you wait for the other person? I'll give you some multiple choices. Do you wait and bitch and complain and feel like a victim, like everybody you choose is annoying and horrible? Or do you speak up and feel really stupid and weird? Or do you wait for the perfect moment to speak your truth? Ulysses, great. I love this answer you're giving. If I catch the doctor looking too long and too often on the screen, I think of other options. Same here. I automatically go to like, okay, what are my options here? Who do I know? What alternative healthcare do I have? What's affordable? What's doable? Who can I ask? Great, Ulysses, I love that. So in a romantic partnership, do you, when you feel something that feels either desperate or longing, do you hold back and complain and talk about it to everybody? Or do you, I'm going to put this. Do you speak your truth, or do you wait for the perfect moment? That's my question. Welcome everyone who's signing on. So as I was listening to Louise Hay today, she was talking about fear, and she was talking about love. And when we have personal freedom, and this is the tip I want to give you today, is to once in a while, or very often actually, ask yourself, what do I really think about this? Because so many people get stuck in the mundane, like taking the train, let's say. I don't take the train anymore. It's a luxury. It's a fucking luxury. And I pay for my car, and I pay for gas, and I pay for parking. I refuse to get on that New York City train. It fucks me up emotionally. Yay, I love when friends are saying hi to friends. So I made that choice to never take the train again, right? And I'm in this really privileged place, and I honor that, to not take the train anymore. It's a personal choice. And there are times where I hear myself saying things about the train, like I'll just say it. And then I always take a minute and say to myself, like, do I really believe that? So when things suck or things don't feel like they're right, and there's a lot of things that aren't going right, your place in it, the way you partake in it, the way how you show up in that conversation is something you can ask yourself. Do I really believe that? Right? So I don't want to get political, but you can think of any political question. I don't know why I'm feeling that vibe. Like, I'm not going there. I'm not doing it. So, yeah, maybe somebody can come up with an idea, like something that you believe. Oh, here we go. Dina. As a medical professional, I give patients options, including holistic and alternative. Oh, that is so beautiful. And it's like, that's even amazing, Dina, that you do that you give holistic and alternative facts. But even if a doctor doesn't have those facts, to just really be aware that, like, I don't have information, but if you're willing to look that route, great. Like, to be open about it and not to be like, I mean, the two responses I got from my doctor and my dentist recently, it's very subtle, but it was like, oh, you're one of those people. And they can already tell I'm one of those people, because when they say, what medications are you on? I say none. They say, what do you take every day? I give them a list of the minerals and the supplements I take, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, you don't take medication. I understand. Now, last night I had a headache. I took an aspirin. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't think it's the only way. And actually, with Louise Hay in mind, I was listening to this CD from the library. She had vaginal cancer, and she did medical research, and she did everything she had to do, but she healed herself with healthy foods, healthy affirmations. And that's what I want to talk about today. So a lot of people are addicted to negativity. Okay? When people say addictions, you can think of the chemical kind, the food kind, but people are addicted to rejection. People are addicted to complaining. People are addicted to Facebook. People are addicted to social media. People are addicted to being negative. And what Louise Hay said today was so cool. She said, why don't you just be addicted to loving yourself? And I thought, like, what a fucking badass she is. And so one of my biggest values, which is why I work for myself, is one of my biggest values is I am addicted to freedom. Now, I want to share with you the shadow side of freedom, which is the darker side, which is like, oh, I have a lot of free time on my hands. I have a thriving business. My clients, I love my clients. Some of them are coming to an end. And I have a new Fuck Your Fears group program starting November 1st. So I'm really excited about that. Everything's pretty much done for it. I'm signing people up. Now I have a lot of time on my hands. What happens when the goddess has a lot of time on her hands is the old, yes, Chris, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. The old paradigm of me, the training from my family is worry. If you're worrying, if you're stressed, that is a fear that something is going to go wrong. And I'll tell you what, and I've worked with many clients on their mindsets, and I'm currently working with many clients on their mindsets. You have a choice. You have a road to pick. Everything's going to be fucked up, or anything is possible. At every moment, you have that choice. And I have family that their voices are in my head saying, well, it is a rainy day. You know, they try to state facts to me. The truth is, nope, I still have a choice. They love me. They want me to have the best. I'm not shitting on them by any means, but their mindset is based on fear and worry most of the time. All the time. And that is not the way I choose to fucking live. I choose to live looking at both roads. And sometimes the worry gets the better of me. But that is my personal freedom. And if I choose to worry, if I say, you know what, fuck it, I'm worrying. And I tried this as an experiment. I couldn't stop. It was a speeding wheel of momentum that would not stop. Yay, welcome, Rosalind. I'm so glad I missed you. And so Chris brought up something really powerful. And this is, I don't know if it's a Brooklyn thing. I grew up, he said he grew up in a house addicted to drama. If you grew up in a house addicted to drama, raise up your fucking hand and put an emoji. I'm drinking my new matcha tea. Because I was addicted to coffee. And coffee made me feel like shit. And yesterday I got a really wicked headache. And I was like, I can't do it anymore. So now I'm drinking some green. I'm sure there's something in it that's not healthy, but my belly and my head don't feel bad. So I made a choice to stop drinking coffee because it wasn't feeling good. Now, it is an addictive choice to want to wake up and have that ritual. So most people, I don't even want to say just Brooklyn, but most people are addicted to drama. And how can you tell is that gossip is exciting. Gossip is interesting. Now, I grew up creating the drama, right? I, dated some very interesting people when I was in high school. I don't even want to share what I did. Like, not in a really negative way, but they were much older than me, or they were not really available, that kind of thing. And then when I graduated high school, I became a stripper. Like, that is very gossipy. That's very fiery to share in high school. And I would do things like leave a high heel out. I mean, I couldn't have been in high school. Maybe it was like right after. I was 18, 19. And so, yeah, you have a coffee right now or a headache? So it's so crucial to be aware if you're addicted to drama, because that takes away your personal freedom. If you spent all of your time learning yourself, loving yourself, figuring out how you operate, then when drama happens, you would be fucking busy. You wouldn't have time or energy to spend on that. So I do a challenge called Fuck Your Fears. And so far I've done it only for women. And if you're a woman, join us over in the Awkward Enchanted Coven, because that's where we do the challenges that are free that lead up to the program. And one time I did a challenge and it was about not going into the drama, like having enough of your own passion that when somebody spoke to you, that you stopped them, because it's a personal choice to allow it in, and it's a personal choice to create that boundary. And that is not something I grew up even knowing. But when someone says, "Oh, I have something to tell you," or, "Oh, do you know what happened to so and so?" It might take all of your energy to say, "You know what? I really don't want to know about that person right now." It's not easy. And especially if you're a drama creator. Hey, Caitlin. So the personal freedom comes with a lot of boundary making, right? So you have to be a ninja, right? A ninja, which means someone loving and amazing might come over and say to you, like, "I have to tell you this." And you have to say, "Actually, you know what? It's really hard for me to say no to hear about the gossip, but I just don't have space for it. I don't have bandwidth for it. I can't listen to it." And truth be told, the news is drama. I mean, if you haven't noticed, like, there is tremendously fucked up shit going on to our children. I can't even get into it. But the truth is, you worrying about it and you freaking out about it and you fighting on Facebook about it is not going to help the situation. Never. It's never going to help it. And if you were trained in a house of where drama was exciting, where Aunt Marcy was doing some fucked up shit, can you believe it? Or the holiday time came and one, Uncle Frank was always like doing his thing and drinking too much and everybody was talking about him. That's drama. And so if you're a business owner, if you're a human being and you get sucked into the drama, you are giving your power away. You are giving your personal freedom away. So I became a business owner mostly because I cannot be controlled. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to control anybody else. But the point is, freedom is essential to who I am. I had a boyfriend in high school. We dated from freshman year to junior year. Very jealous. And I just had a thought, like, he might watch this. But he was very jealous. And it was the very first time I created a boundary. And I wanted to take the bus home with all the friends, And he was like always used to picking me up and dropping me off. And for a while I loved it. I was a queen. It felt good. But then I wanted friends. I wanted my freedom. And I was like, "I want to take the bus." And it really upset him. I remember this. And I remember we ended the relationship because I wanted to go away to college. I wanted a life. I wanted freedom. And so it's always been something. I remember back in kindergarten, there was a dinosaur. I must have told the story a bunch of times. It was a Brontosaurus. And I wanted to keep hanging out with the friends that I was sitting with. Actually, the community keeps coming up to me. Rosalind, I'm going to send you something. Rosalind is in my 9-month coven, and I have a special care for her headache right now. In kindergarten, I wanted to draw spikes on the Brontosaurus. And my teacher came over to me, Miss Corrito, bless her soul. And she crumpled up the paper and threw it away and gave me another dinosaur to draw. And I remember 5 years old feeling like, "You're fucked up. You're taking my fucking freedom." Now, I share with you this 5-year-old story. Here's why. I have been working with, yay, Heather! I have been working with my ancestors. I have been working with the women Hebrew tribes and finding out a lot of information. There's very little writing on it, but I've been really doing my work. There's a certain freedom that the tribes of women never had. And this may be controversial, but I'm Jewish. I love it, but I do not feel connected to a Jewish community. It's really focused on men. And maybe in many sects, women are asked to speak and share, but it's more religious, more observant than I choose to be. And so I'm doing this work of like finding a place, but also freedom was never given to women. I mean, if you open up the Old Testament, barely there's any things about women in it. Not that I've read from cover to cover, but it's all about the men and their wives. And I'm reading a really powerful book right now about the women shamans, the Jewish women shamans of the day before, back and back and back. And a lot of them, the priestesses, they were like shamans, and they were only brought to the surface to talk about keeping the household and protecting the children and basically having good parties and making sure their husbands were happy. They did secret things. And those are the things that I'm revealing because they give me more freedom, and I'm sharing them with all my clients. More and more and more. Like when we had the retreat, I put on my sacred robe, I sang, we danced, we fight, all these things that are very sacred traditions. Nobody said, here's the freedom, go do that. I'm choosing to do that on my own. So if right now you're in a job, you're in a relationship, you're in a money situation that is robbing your freedom, there is no one to blame but yourself. And I say that with pure love because I get in my way like a motherfucker, which is why I have a mentor, which is why I have several mentors, several coaches. Some I pay for and some are friends and are free. But the truth is, we can't do shit alone. That's where our personal freedom gets taken away. Time is moving, and if you're stuck in a place you don't want to be stuck in, those people, that stuck, is a reflection of what you feel about yourself. So again, I will say, just like Louise Hay says, if you want to be addicted to something, be addicted to loving yourself. Just be addicted to loving yourself. Stop worrying that people are going to think you're not caring about them. If you're caring about them and you're taking care of yourself half-ass, you're taking care of them half-ass. Okay, Katie says, something that happened to my daughter, I confronted the teacher and said, don't crush her spirit. Yes. About a month later, with this kind of continued behavior, I took her out of school. And yes, Katie, thank you. The system is based on training children to go work in a factory. Guys, we don't have factories like that anymore for our children. There are factories, but your children don't have to go work in them. And yes, of course, there are factories where children are working. But right now, if you're watching this Facebook, I assume that your children have more choices than that. And your children are the future to help the other children get the fuck out of shitty situations. So don't get stuck. Don't get trapped up in your own head. Get a mentor, get a coach, rely on somebody so that you don't get stuck in your same patterns. Well done, Katie. I'm so glad for your child because I grew up in this Astor program and it was like the gifted and talented, except they didn't focus on our fucking gifts. I never said that in that way, but nobody focused on our gifts. They just focused on going on trips and giving us more tests and doing reports on how fucked up we were. Yeah, industrial. We are not in the industrial revolution. We have different problems right now, but our personal freedom is ours. So again, I want to remind everyone who's jumping on late or watching in the replay, your personal freedom, the first thing you can do right now is the one moment you catch yourself. And of course, you have to catch yourself blaming someone else, shaming someone else, making someone else wrong. Ask yourself before you do it, do I really fucking believe that? Right? When you're saying like, all those people do this, ask yourself, do I really believe that? I used to talk about people in Staten Island, and this is not fucked up because I've remedied it. I would say all people in Staten Island are limited, right? That was my judgment. And oh my goodness, Katie, I want to talk about it because there was some major trauma from the ASTA program in Canarsie in like 81, 82, 83, whatever the hell it was. But the idea that we can ask ourselves questions about our personal freedom. Do I really like this relationship? Do I really believe that? Like, it can be an internal process. But if you don't already have an internal process, I invite you to have one. And whether you're pricing your business or you're looking for some self-esteem or let's say you're in a relationship and it's the same problems, every relationship, different people. I work with a lot of my clients on intimacy issues, whether it's friendships or lovers or partners. And if we're not into our body, if we have a fear, right? And that fear could be disguised as stress, worry, shame, or guilt, then we can't be present, and then it blocks intimacy. So I have known, hey, Jason, nice to see you, local home skillet. So my theory about people in Staten Island was like, oh, they're limited, right? And so I would poo-poo anybody and everybody who would go to Staten Island or anything about Staten Island. Now, I have some really powerful healer friends and some friends I grew up with. They are limited, but I fucking tell them that. But the truth is, I don't want to say all of anybody. That's a perfect example. If you're new to having a process, hi, Yvonne, welcome, sister, to ask yourself, do I really believe that? When I say all those people are this, is that really true? And if you think it is, then you're pretty fucking limited yourself. So that's all. That's it for today. I'm going to wrap this up. If you are a goddess, if you are a woman, I invite you, I'll put it in the chat here, to join the Awkward Enchanted Coven, or if you are a man and a woman, or both, or whatever, if you're gender open, whatever that means. Please join the Relational Embodied Intimacy group. My personal freedom lets me do whatever I want. And so I have so much freedom, which can also be so confronting because there's no one telling me what to do. So there are days where I wake up and I'm like, oh man, I'm in a little bit of a funk. And because I live alone, I live with myself and my dog Cooper, I start to imagine like, I could do this all day. Nobody would check on me. What if I did this for all week? And I say, oh, take a moment, make a choice. And I want to leave you with this one thing, this one thought. Fear and excitement are the same in the body, but fear does not have the breath. I'm not sure exactly where this came from. Hey, Scott. So if you know, I ask you to share. Fear and excitement are the same in the body, but fear is without the breath. So when your personal freedom feels attacked, so maybe you're on the train and they say, sorry, your train is delayed for 5 hours, you're fucked, and you start to feel like a victim. I invite you to take that moment, instead of a fear happening, to take a couple of breaths and invite in what else is possible. Because once you say like, I'm screwed, or I can't get home at a certain time, and maybe that also attacks your money game. Like, oh, I can't take a cab, I can't take a black car, it's too expensive, blah, 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 blah. But can you go to the movies? You know, can you make a phone call to a loved one? Like, there's always a moment to create more personal freedom, especially when you feel so fucked and you're in this tight little space. Like, how can you open it up even just a little bit? It's so important. And personal freedom comes with a price tag, which is you need to be self-motivated. You need to be you have to choose to be a self-starter. And so to me, that means surrounding yourself with powerful, amazing people, some paid, some free, that can help you out of that stuck and muck. It's crucial. I can be the queen of stuck. And I can be the queen of fabulous. And that's kind of what works about me, is that, and everybody, is the pendulum swings both ways, right? You can be super high and amazing, and you can be super low, and it's equal in both ways. As joyful as you can get as depressed, as sad. You know, if you think about like Robin Williams or Amy Winehouse, like these uber fucking talented people that fell to depression and fell to basically commit, suicide on some level. Chris Farley, I mean, oh my God, these funny, amazing people. They can be so intensely funny and amazing, but that shit swings both ways. And they had teams of people around them. So for us, for our human being selves, we need to question things all the time. Don't question them with an argument or a fight. Question yourself first. You cannot help anybody unless you help yourself. And so before you get into a fight, if you can notice when your body starts to get activated, Before you go on Facebook and start to disagree with somebody, like they're not going to listen to you anyway. You're not going to change anybody's fucking mind. Ask yourself, is this what I really believe? Is my action really going to matter? And then take your energy and bring it somewhere else. Oh, I know what I was going to say before. So my Fuck Your Fears challenge is coming up in the Awkward Enchanted Coven. Why do I keep losing this thought? Ah, wow, it's such a good one. Okay, going away from it. I'll come back to it. Anyway, I'll come back to it when it's the right time. I trust that when you make a choice to choose what avenue you're going to go on, whether it's fear or love, always choose the loving route. And it doesn't have to be the whole day. From moment to moment to moment. What feels good right now? Do I really believe that? To start to begin. I work with a lot of beginners, Oh, cue cards are great. Yeah, there's so many ways to remind yourself. And maybe watching this video will help you. You can write on your hand. You can set your alarm on your cell phone. Thank you, Glenn. Am I pronouncing your name right, Glenn? You can put a cue card in your wallet. You can ask a friend to remind you, like to constantly remember. I work with a lot of beginners. And so the internal process is something that's very new to a lot of my clients. And so having reminders to ask yourself questions, like on my bathroom mirror, I have the words, I love you. There's a I love you challenge, mirror challenge I'm doing with my women in the Awkward Enchanted Coven, because we forget how amazing we are. And that goes for everybody. We are amazing human beings. Our bodies are amazing machines that can cure and heal themselves just from our thoughts. So I just cherish everyone who shows up on these lives with me, because it's so powerful and it gets me so connected and in my body. I went a little longer than I wanted to, but I wish you blessings on the rest of your day. Remember to make a choice, creating your internal system, your internal questioning. Do I really believe that? Do I really want to go there? Is this person really being valid and in integrity with me? And just create a system in your body that processes before taking actions that give away your personal freedom. So it's so interesting. I have so many thoughts after I do these, and I want to keep sharing them. So if you have any thoughts, please share them. Welcome, Evelyn. Giving away your personal freedom is really, really powerful these days. It's so crucial that we remember and come back to our center, our groundedness, or we can just make ourselves sick and crazy. And that does not help anyone around you in your community. All right, blessings, everyone. Sign on tomorrow. We're going to continue talking about Enchanted Living, which is breaking through to have more freedom, more sensual self-expression, more permission, and more authenticity. So tomorrow at noon, right here. Share this if you wish. Join up on all my things. Oh, your father's mirror said I accept myself unconditionally. He must have been exposed too. Louise Hay. I got this from the good old library, you guys. Free. I listened to it in the car. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you to those who commented. It's really important that this isn't just you watching me for entertainment, but that the more you get engaged, the more you get from it. All right, enchanted ones. Alien enchanted blessings to you. Have a wonderful day. Bye.